Let's kind of back to that Henry Ford. If you believe if you believe you can, or if you believe it's going to work, in this case, it's going to. If you don't believe it's going to work, then it probably won't,
Right.
So why not? Why not, eat chocolate? I'd make up that it's blessed by, Buddhist monks and God himself.
Right.
The chocolate that I eat has been blessed by God himself.
Or
now
herself.
I just want to go, or herself. Now I want to go eat chocolate. Got any chocolate?
I don't have any chocolate, so sorry.
Anyway.
Anyhow, so, okay, to quantum physics, everything is connected. Reality exists in wave-like beings until it is observed. We're all connected so that what one person does or thinks can affect someone else. Now I'm going to talk about primary perception, which the experiments with this, and we have a little clip on it, so I won't go too far into it, started in the 1960s, that our thoughts or intention is actually picked up by non-sentient beings, such as plants and yogurt and cells of our body even. And so before I get too far into that, I'm thinking just go to the clip.
Yeah, he even talks about it a little bit in the last movie with where he talks about the leaf, when they burned the leaf of the plant.
You're approaching the outer...
Sorry, go ahead, Mitchell.
Yeah, in the last clip, he talked a little bit about how he, like burning in the leaf of a plant, and how it really, or thinking about burning the leaf of the plant, and the plant actually responded.
Right, that's in the clip, and this is taken from a book. Well, this clip is not taken from a book. Obviously, that would be a little difficult to do, even if it is a wave and I could observe it and turn it into a particle. I did not take this clip from a book.
Right?
Yes. I have been frying my own pie. Okay. Primary Perception by Cleve Baxter is a fantastic book that talks thoroughly about all of these things that we're watching here next coming up. Verbal acuity is leaving me now.
Okay.
So we might as well
let's show the clip. Let's go to the clip.
Limit. Our infinite struggle to intersect the axis that is science and the elusive curve that is the universe. This isn't science as we know it, rather, science as we shall it. There are no innocent bystanders here. Near the limit, each of us must be a scientist. The egg, an origin of life. Too bad for the egg. But why the empathy? Did the egg feel terror? Did his colleagues? The pragmatic scientist might, incredulous, say, certainly not. Eggs cannot feel. That kind of certainty sunk the Titanic and the Lusitania. New York City, February 2nd, 1966. Cleve Baxter, polygraph expert and chairman of the Research and Instrument Committee for the Academy of Scientific Interrogation, attached the GSR component of a polygraph machine to his office Dracana plant in an attempt to observe the rate at which the plant absorbs water. The chance observations of a curious mind. It was early in the morning and no other person was in the laboratory. My thought and intent was, I'm going to burn that leaf. The very moment the imagery of burning that leaf entered my mind, the polygraph recording pen moved rapidly to the top of the chart. No words were spoken, no touching the plant, no lighting of matches, just my clear intention to burn the leaf. To me, this was a powerful, high-quality observation. Footnote, Cleve Baxter, Primary Perception, Ansa, California, White Rose Millennium Press, 2003, page 24. All further references in program. For 40 years, Baxter has made rigorous scientific observations showing plants, eggs, yogurt, and human cells in vitro all responding to spontaneous events and distinguishing between thoughts that were feigned and thoughts that were for real. Reach into our scientist toolkit, form of hypothesis. Humans share a sense with every living cell around us, one that is not extrasensory, rather it is a primary perception. In the words of Pushkin, a psyche exists, it would seem, in living cells devoid of a nervous system. Dr. Myra Crawford of the University of Alabama Medical School visited Baxter's laboratory on January 30th, 2002.
Her commentary.
I have been shown in a scientific demonstration the apparent reality of conscious, non-local, instantaneous communication between my thoughts and my cells.
Instantaneous, non-local communication? Faster than the speed of light? Instantaneous, non-local communication is rarely discussed outside of quantum theory.
The famous Einstein-Podolsky-Rosen argument of 1935, illustrated here in a simpler version by David Bohm, considers two spinning particles formed from a decaying particle. As they move outwards, the two particles are entangled. If we were to measure the spin of one and get a certain value, an immediate measurement of the spin of the other would yield the same value. If reality were for real and quantum theory were true, the particles must then be exchanging information instantaneously, defying the principle of locality.
A tough pill to swallow for Einstein.
In 1964, John Bell extended the EPR argument and rigorously showed violations of locality in quantum theory. Henry Stapp called this the most profound discovery of science.
Footnote: Andrew Whittaker, John Stuart Bell, University of St Andrews, Scotland. Online. Internet. Few exceptions aside, mainstream science and investment dollars avoid primary perception and consciousness research. If it is, as Bruce Lee describes in the film Enter the Dragon, like a finger pointing the way to the moon, the economics of science would just as soon go on concentrating on fingers. I had the distinct honor of speaking with Cleve Baxter from his laboratory in San Diego. In his words,
it makes you wonder a little bit, about the real definition of science and scientists, and are they performing, according to design.
The complete Cleve Baxter interview and corroborative research can be found on the web at www.outerlimit.org.uk. Until next time, make rigorous observations and be prepared to cite your sources. I'm Ryan Corals. See you near the limit.
Ryan is a little intense. I'm like, I will cite my sources, Ryan.
I really liked him. I
do too. And he kind of brought together a lot of the things that we've been talking about regarding entanglement. Instantaneous, non-local communication, where he showed those two blobs on the other side, is exactly what we were talking about, the LA Paris electron and things like that. And his little reference to Einstein is that, Einstein developed the theory of relativity, right. And in that was a theory that everything is orderly in the universe. And so when Niels Bohr came out with the Copenhagen effect, meaning nothing really exists until it's observed, and we're in a state of complete possibility at all times, so you really never know what's going to happen, Einstein just really could not buy that, and actually spent the remainder of his days mathematically trying to disprove that, and he was never able to. And I love Einstein. I have posters of him all over my house. I think he's just one of the modern geniuses of our times, but he could just not accept
Einstein and Marilyn Monroe.
Einstein and Marilyn Monroe have both in my house. Hey, they both have great contributions.
Both geniuses, that's right.
Yes, exactly. So I also wanted to comment, Mitch, on there was a statement in there about Myra Crawford had said, it's been shown to me in the laboratory that I had non-instantaneous or immediate communication with my cells. That's actually in the book Primary Perception by Cleve Baxter. And what he did with many volunteers is he took blood samples from them and put them in a slide across the room, or sometimes even in another room. And he would have the participants concentrate on speeding up or slowing down the movement of their blood cells. And it could be observed to change speeds just by the thought of the person, and it was instantaneous. And there was also an experiment that he did with killing blood cells. I believe it was blood cells with like a saline solution. And when people concentrated, and blood cells that were taken out of a body, obviously, when people concentrated on protecting their blood cells, they lasted longer than those that were not protected. And that's all in the book. And I could be citing it a little bit off because it's been a while since I read it, but these are the types of experiments that he did.